Marcia Ann Ryan was born on July 19, 1963 to parents John and Johanna Ryan, in Victoria, Australia. Marcia had 4 siblings named Anthony, Mark, Paul, and Dianne. She had a good relationship with her family, and would spend a lot of time with them. In September of 1980, when Marcia was just 17 years old, tragedy struck the Ryan family, when her elder sister Dianne died in a terrible car accident. It was even more devastating for Marcia, as she witnessed the accident from the car behind. This incident marked a change in Marcia's life, and she would never fully recover from it. However, slowly and gradually, Marcia picked up the pieces of her shattered life, to begin her life anew. In the 90s, Marcia lived in Seaford, a suburb in Melbourne, Victoria. When she turned 23, she started working at her uncle's transportation company called W. Thompson & Son, where she was known to be an extremely reliable employee who was hardworking. She had been working there for 10 years, and she loved her job. Marcia was described as a fun-loving person, who enjoyed scuba diving and hiking among other things. She also loved riding motorcycles, and even owned a 500cc Ducati motorbike. But most of all, Marcia adored spending time with her black and white Heeler Border Collie cross dog, Ziggy. Marcia's aunt, Thea Thompson, revealed that Ziggy was so attached to Marcia that he would often wait for her to come home before even touching his food. Ziggy was very obedient and almost never wore a leash. He was extremely protective of Marcia, and would never leave her side. They were practically inseparable, and Marcia considered Ziggy as part of her family. In 1996, Marcia and her dog Ziggy lived in a 3-bedroom house in Larule Crescent, in Seaford. It was a big house that Marcia owned, and had only recently renovated with the help of her parents, John and Jo. On August 15, Marcia took in a boarder, as she thought having a tenant would make her feel less lonely. According to her mother, the new tenant frightened Marcia, and she decided to evict him in less than 24 hours of him moving in. It is not known exactly what the man had done, but some family members claimed that Marcia found it unnerving to have someone who spoke as little as he did. Marcia's brother Mark helped remove the tenant from the property, without any incident. 3 days later, on August 19, Marcia went to work as usual. But at around 12:30 p.m., she informed her manager that she was feeling unwell, and went home. This was a bit uncharacteristic of Marcia, as she rarely took a day off work, and in the 10 years of working at her uncle's company, she had only ever taken 1 day off, when she had to undergo a thyroid surgery. Later that night, Marcia called her parents at around 10:45 p.m. They were on their yearly holiday in Surfers Paradise in Queensland. She told them that she would be visiting them because she needed a break, and that she'd see them in a few days, but she did not elaborate further. For reference, the drive from Seaford to Surfers Paradise was 1,800 kilometers, or nearly 1,200 miles long. It would take her over 24 hours to make the trip. Despite it being late in the night, Marcia, along with Ziggy, set off in her Mitsubishi Sigma sedan, and began her long journey from Victoria to Queensland. At some point that night, she took a 45-minute detour from her route to Camberwell, so that she could withdraw $50 from an ATM. She had also made one last call from an unknown payphone to her father, letting him know that she was on her way. She resumed her journey afterwards. Sometime during that night, Marcia and Ziggy vanished into thin air. At approximately 2:40 a.m., a patrolling police car spotted an abandoned car on the eastbound lane of the Princes Highway between Moe and Morwell, near Newborough. The vehicle seemed to be low on fuel, and was parked between 2 ledges or sheer embankments. It was a dangerous spot to pull over, as it was a 100 km/h or a 62 mph zone. The strange thing was that there was actually a 24/7 gas station just half a mile away. If Marcia's car was really low on fuel, she would have visited the station to refill her gas tank. However, for whatever reason, she didn't. About 12 miles back at Darnham, a passing motorist found Marcia's wallet on one of the road's median strips. It seemed to have been thrown out of a moving vehicle from the driver's side. An ID and a BP fuel card confirmed that the wallet had belonged to Marcia Ryan. The motorist called the number he'd found in the wallet, to let the owner know that he was in possession of it. 2 days after Marcia left to see her parents, her mother Joanna called Marcia's elder brother Anthony, and asked if he knew where she was. Initially he was not too concerned, as Marcia did in fact tell their parents that she'd take a few days to reach them. However, a day later, when Anthony went to Marcia's house to check her messages on the answering machine, he was baffled to find a message from a motorist who said he found Marcia's wallet on the highway near Darnham. He drove down to meet the motorist, and picked up Marcia's wallet before going to the police to file a report. On August 24th, there was a message about Marcia's car, which was still left on the highway, and that it would be impounded if it's not moved. Anthony went back to the police to request for the car keys, but they gave him a wire hanger to open the car door, as they said that they found the car locked with the key still in the ignition. Anthony found the car on the Princess Highway and broke into the car. He searched for clues, and even checked the trunk to see if either Marcia or Ziggy were placed there by someone. The keys were not in the ignition, and the car was empty. He immediately went back to the police to file a missing persons report. Following the report filed by Anthony, an official search was launched. Police along with canine and horse units, as well as local volunteers, scoured the area extensively for any clues about Marcia and Ziggy's whereabouts. But unfortunately, no trace of the duo was found. After the Ryan family made a public appeal for information on Marcia and Ziggy, a truck driver came forward and told authorities that he had seen Marcia on the night she vanished, at approximately 11:50 p.m. He said that Marcia was walking along the highway, away from her car towards Morwell, which was in the opposite direction of her route to Queensland. He said that she looked distressed, and so he offered her a lift, but she declined. The trucker knew that she was wary of him, so he did not press her on and went about his way. He said that he could not recall if Ziggy was in Marcia's company or not at the time. When authorities questioned Marcia's family, friends and colleagues, they found that Marcia had been acting normally, and that she did not show any odd behavior prior to her disappearance. However, her family members did point out that when she disappeared, it was around the anniversary of her sister, Dianne's death. Marcia's family members all had different opinions on her disappearance. Her father believed that maybe Marcia wanted to take a short break from everything. Her brother Anthony thought that, considering her state of mind on the night she vanished, she might have wanted to start a new life in the nearby state of New South Wales. And her mother, sadly, thought that she might have died, but she still hoped against hope. Of course, all these theories have their own flaws. Did Marcia really decide to start a new life? Where could she have gone all by herself after abandoning her car? The highway cuts through great swathes of bushland and rural areas, and police spent weeks searching the area. Nothing was ever found. Maybe Marcia did have car trouble and decided to hitchhike, or maybe she was a tragic victim of foul play. Although there is no evidence to suggest that foul play occurred, the police suspect that it is a possibility. Was the male tenant who Marcia evicted involved? Though it is a possibility, it is still purely speculation at this point. The police did question the man extensively in regards to Marcia's disappearance, but have found nothing significant. Suicide was also suggested as a possibility, however the Ryan family highly doubt that Marcia would take her own life. The family also believes that Marcia would never intentionally put Ziggy in any sort of danger. In the following weeks and months, there were reported sightings of a dog matching Ziggy's description in the Bunyip area, which was about 50 miles from Melbourne. Of course, none of these reports could be verified. Even with no remains of Marcia having ever been found, the coroner concluded that Marcia had died on or around the night of her disappearance. This was obviously very difficult for the Ryan family to accept. Losing one daughter was heartbreaking enough, but to lose two was unimaginable. But 24 years later, Anthony Ryan and his family are no closer to knowing what happened to Marcia and her loyal dog Ziggy. Did Marcia disappear on her own volition? Or did something far more sinister occur? These are the questions that still haunt Anthony and his brother Paul to this day, who are the only two remaining family members alive today. Anthony still holds out hope that someday they'll find out the truth about his sister, and that maybe they'll be reunited. But for now, he and his family still continue to search for Marcia. Thank you for watching, and we hope you found our video interesting. Like, comment and subscribe for more fascinating unsolved mysteries.